Erin Holland had always believed that family came first. She spent decades building her home, raising her children, and supporting her husband in ways no one else could understand. But life, she realized, has a way of testing even the strongest hearts. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when her son, Michael, came home with a cold, unreadable expression. Erin, as always, greeted him with a smile. "How was your day, honey?" she asked, but Michael didn't answer. He didn't even sit down. Instead, he looked straight at her, and the words that followed made her heart stop. "Mom," he said, voice tense, "you need to make a choice. Serve my wife, or leave." Erin froze. The words echoed in her mind like a cruel joke she didn't understand. Serve his wife, leave. She had dedicated her entire life to raising Michael and supporting the family. How could he say this now, as if she were a servant and not his mother? Michael's wife, Vanessa, stood behind him, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk on her face. Erin felt the sting immediately. She had tried to welcome Vanessa into the family, had always treated her like her own daughter, and yet, here she was, being threatened in her own home. Erin's mind raced. Could she really leave the home she had built with her late husband? Could she abandon the life she had spent decades nurturing? No, the thought alone made her stomach churn. And serving Vanessa, the idea felt degrading, humiliating. She was a mother, not a maid, but she knew Michael had changed. He wasn't the boy she had once comforted at night when he was scared. He wasn't the son who had held her hand when life was hard. Somewhere along the way, he had become someone else, someone cold, influenced, maybe even manipulated by Vanessa. Erin swallowed hard, her hands trembling. "Michael," she began, but he cut her off. "This isn't a discussion, Mom. It's a demand," he said firmly, and just like that, Erin realized she was standing at a crossroads. One path was submission, serving Vanessa, bending her will, swallowing her pride. The other was unknown, risky, and terrifying, but it might be the only way to regain her dignity. She glanced at the familiar walls of her home, the memories embedded in every corner, and a quiet determination settled in her heart. Erin Holland had faced hardships before, but never like this, and she would not be broken, not today. Little did Michael and Vanessa know, Erin had already begun plotting her response, a response so unexpected, so clever, that it would leave the entire family stunned, and that response would change everything. After Michael's shocking ultimatum, Erin sat alone in her bedroom, the familiar walls of her home suddenly feeling foreign. Every photograph, every memento, from her years of motherhood and family gatherings, seemed to mock her. She replayed Michael's words in her mind, "Serve my wife, or leave." How could her own son speak to her like that? She had given everything to raise him, to guide him, to love him unconditionally, and yet here she was, treated like an outsider in her own home. Erin didn't cry, not yet. Instead, a calm fire ignited inside her. She knew she couldn't confront Michael or Vanessa directly without thinking through her plan carefully. Rash reactions had never been her style, and if there was one thing Erin Holland had mastered over the years, it was patience and strategy. She went to the kitchen, poured herself a cup of tea, and sat at the table, staring out of the window. The garden was in bloom, a stark contrast to the storm raging inside her. Memories of Michael as a little boy flashed through her mind, the way he had clung to her at night when the thunder scared him, the laughter that had filled the house, the birthday parties she had meticulously planned. Those memories were a reminder. She wasn't powerless. She had strength, experience, and resilience. Erin decided she needed allies, but carefully. She couldn't trust just anyone with her plan. She reached out to an old friend, Laura, who had always been like a sister to her. Over the phone, Erin's voice was steady, calm, but there was a steeliness in it that Laura recognized immediately. "Laura, I need your help," Erin said quietly. "I've been pushed out of my own home, and I need to take control before things get worse. But it has to be smart, subtle, and it has to shock them." Laura didn't ask questions. She knew Erin too well. "Tell me what to do," she replied. Erin hung up and returned to her room, where she began outlining her plan in her mind. She wouldn't leave. She wouldn't submit. She would take back the respect and authority that had been denied to her. But she would do it in a way that no one could anticipate. Michael and Vanessa thought they had the upper hand. They thought she was alone, powerless. They had no idea that Erin Holland's mind was already several moves ahead. For the first time since the confrontation, Erin smiled, not out of joy, but out of confidence. She had always been underestimated, and she knew that would be her advantage. They had pushed her into a corner, thinking she would crumble. Instead, she would turn the corner into her battlefield. That evening, Erin joined Michael and Vanessa in the living room, appearing calm, composed, and unsuspecting. She greeted them warmly, masking the storm inside her. They looked at her, perhaps expecting hesitation, fear, or surrender, but all they saw was the familiar Erin, smiling politely. Inside, Erin's mind was racing. Step by step, she would regain her place, reclaim her dignity, and deliver a response so unexpected that it would leave the entire family speechless. And the moment to act was closer than anyone imagined. If you want to see how Erin's bold plan unfolds and leaves the family in shock, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for the next part of this incredible story. Erin Holland had always been a master of observation, and now, more than ever, she relied on that skill. She noticed every detail, the way Vanessa flicked her hair, the smug look on Michael's face when he thought he was in control, the slight hesitation in their movements when they assumed Erin was defeated. To the untrained eye, she seemed calm and compliant, but inside, Erin was calculating. She knew the moment to strike would have to be precise. One wrong move, and her son might truly cut her out of the family. The next day, Erin prepared breakfast for the family, as she had done countless times before, but this time, she did it with intention. Every dish was perfectly arranged, every gesture polite yet deliberate. She served Michael and Vanessa with a smile, masking the storm brewing inside her. Michael's eyes narrowed slightly, sensing something different about his mother, but he couldn't put his finger on it. After breakfast, Erin excused herself and went to the study, a place Michael and Vanessa rarely entered. She opened a drawer and pulled out old family photo albums, carefully chosen letters, and small keepsakes that held the story of her life with Michael's late father. She began organizing them in a way that told a story only someone with her experience and insight could tell. Erin's plan was simple yet brilliant. She would remind the family of her worth without saying a word directly. She would make them see the foundation she had built, the sacrifices she had made, and the love she had poured into the home they all took for granted. Later that evening, she invited Michael and Vanessa to the living room. With a calm voice, Erin began sharing stories behind each photo, each letter, each memory she had preserved. At first, Michael appeared indifferent, glancing at his phone, while Vanessa smirked, thinking this was just another attempt to win sympathy. But slowly, the atmosphere began to shift. Erin's words were not loud or confrontational, they were gentle but powerful. She spoke of birthdays celebrated, hardships endured, and countless sleepless nights spent nurturing the family. She told of the small moments that no one else remembered, the acts of love and care that had kept the household together. Vanessa's smirk faltered, replaced by a flicker of unease. Michael's jaw tightened, and Erin noticed the subtle shift in his posture. For the first time, she saw doubt in their eyes, a realization that perhaps they had underestimated her. By the end of the evening, the tension in the room was palpable. Erin didn't demand respect, she quietly reclaimed it. She didn't argue or fight, she simply reminded them of the truth. Her presence was invaluable, and her influence in the family could not be erased so easily. As she stood to leave the room, Erin's heart raced not with fear, but with the thrill of victory. The first move had been made, and it had shaken the foundation of Michael and Vanessa's confidence. But Erin knew this was only the beginning. The real test was yet to come, and she had to be ready for whatever they tried next. Erin Holland could feel the shift in the household after her quiet but powerful reminder of her value. Michael no longer spoke with the same certainty, and Vanessa's confident smirk had faded into cautious calculation. Erin knew better than to believe the battle was over. She had only made the first move. The following morning, Erin prepared breakfast with her usual grace, but there was a new air about her, confidence tempered with strategy. She observed Michael's distracted expressions and Vanessa's forced cheerfulness. It was clear they had begun to recognize that Erin Holland was not a woman to be pushed around. As the day progressed, the tension grew. Michael approached Erin in the kitchen, attempting to assert control, but Erin met him with calm composure. "Mom, we need to talk," Michael said, his voice slightly wary. Erin looked at him steadily, holding her ground. "Yes, Michael, we do." He hesitated, then said, "You can't keep challenging Vanessa like this. She's my wife now. You need to cooperate." Erin's eyes softened, but there was a steeliness in her gaze. "Cooperate," she repeated. "I've always cooperated, supported, guided, loved, but I will not compromise my dignity, Michael. There's a difference." Michael opened his mouth, but Aaron continued before he could respond. I understand you want your wife to feel respected and valued, but respect is mutual. It cannot be demanded, nor can it be one-sided. Michael's brow furrowed. Aaron could see the confusion and the frustration. She had planted a seed of doubt, and she would nurture it carefully. Later that afternoon, Vanessa tried to assert herself by taking control of a household matter, something Aaron had always handled. But Aaron didn't back down. She guided the situation with her characteristic poise and calm authority, quietly demonstrating her competence. Vanessa's confidence faltered with every gentle correction, every subtle maneuver Aaron employed. That evening, Aaron invited Michael and Vanessa to sit down with her once again. She didn't speak of ultimatums this time. Instead, she shared a story one from years ago, when the family had faced a crisis and she had kept everyone together, often at her own expense. She described the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, and the love that had held the family together. Vanessa shifted uncomfortably, realizing that Aaron's influence was undeniable. Michael, too, could no longer ignore the truth. Erin wasn't just a mother, she was the heart of the home, a force that had quietly but powerfully shaped their lives. As Erin concluded, she looked at them with calm determination. I will always love this family, Michael, but I will not be silenced or pushed aside. If respect cannot be mutual, then no one will get what they want from me. A tense silence followed. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, the kind that precedes a storm or a breakthrough. Erin knew she had unsettled them, but the true test was yet to come. They would make their move soon, and she had to be ready. If you want to see how Erin's bold strategy continues, and the shocking twist that leaves everyone speechless, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel to catch the next part of this incredible story. Erin Holland had been carefully observing Michael and Vanessa for days. Every glance, every word, every small action gave her clues. She knew they were plotting Michael, likely to assert dominance, Vanessa to undermine her authority. But Erin was no stranger to conflict, and she had a plan that would catch them completely off guard. That morning, Erin went about her routine with meticulous precision. She cleaned, cooked, and arranged the house with her usual care. But her mind was far ahead, calculating every possible scenario. She had already prepared subtle surprises, little reminders of her presence and influence that would speak louder than any argument. By late afternoon, Vanessa, growing frustrated with Erin's quiet resistance, attempted a bold move. She called Michael over and whispered something in his ear. Clearly, a plan to corner Erin. Michael, still unsure, hesitated but nodded, showing that Vanessa's influence was strong. Erin noticed their exchange from the living room, pretending to be absorbed in a book. A small smile tugged at her lips. She had anticipated this exact moment when they approached her. Erin greeted them warmly, giving no hint of fear or tension. Michael, Vanessa, she said, her voice calm. How can I help? Vanessa, attempting to assert dominance, pointed to a stack of documents she had placed on the table. These need to be handled immediately, Mom, she said sharply. I need them done my way. Erin looked at the papers and then back at Vanessa. Your way, she repeated softly, or a way that ensures the family benefits. She didn't wait for a response. Instead, she carefully went through the documents, making subtle corrections, highlighting important points, and reorganizing them in a way that improved the outcome dramatically. Vanessa's eyes widened. Michael leaned forward, shocked by Erin's efficiency. Every action Erin took reminded them of the countless times she had quietly held the family together, managing crises without complaint or recognition. The contrast was undeniable. Vanessa's attempt to take control only highlighted Erin's mastery and experience. By the evening, Erin had subtly orchestrated the entire household to run smoothly, while Michael and Vanessa were left in stunned silence. Erin's calm competence had done what words could not. She had reclaimed her authority without a single confrontation. As the day ended, Erin retreated to her room and reflected on the events. She knew the battle was far from over, but for the first time, she felt a surge of confidence. Michael and Vanessa had underestimated her, and that mistake would cost them more than they imagined. Erin smiled quietly. They had thought they were in control. They had thought they could push her aside, but Erin Holland had shown them that respect and influence weren't demanded, they were earned. And she had earned them once again, quietly but powerfully. The storm was far from over, though she could sense that the next move from Vanessa and Michael would be even bolder, and she had to be ready. Erin was no longer the mother who would silently obey or retreat. She was a force, and everyone in the family would soon see just how unstoppable she could be. Erin Holland had spent days carefully observing Michael and Vanessa, studying every mannerism, every word, every subtle sign of their intentions. She knew they were growing impatient, frustrated that their attempts to dominate her were failing. But Erin was ready. She had prepared a strategy so bold that it would shake the family to its core. That morning, Erin called Michael and Vanessa into the living room. They exchanged wary glances, unsure what she had in mind. Vanessa's confident smirk had returned, though it was slightly forced. Michael, still confused and uncertain, folded his arms as he waited for Erin to speak. "Michael, Vanessa," Erin began, her voice calm but commanding. "I've been thinking about our situation. I realize there's tension, but there's also a solution that will work for everyone without disrespecting anyone." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" she asked cautiously. Erin smiled, but it was not a smile of submission, it was a smile of someone fully in control. "I've prepared a family meeting," she said, holding up a folder. "We're going to go through everything together. Everyone's responsibilities, everyone's contributions. No assumptions, no manipulations, just the truth." Michael opened his mouth, but Erin continued. "It's time we all see clearly what each person brings to this family, and I promise it will be eye-opening." Vanessa hesitated, realizing Erin was taking the lead in a way she had not expected. Michael looked uncertain, unsure whether to argue or comply. Erin's calm authority left no room for defiance. They reluctantly agreed, following her instructions. Erin began the meeting by presenting old family records, photographs, and letters, carefully arranged to highlight her lifelong contributions to the household. She shared stories of sacrifices she had made, the countless sleepless nights she endured, the celebrations she meticulously organized, and the crises she quietly managed. Each story was accompanied by tangible evidence. Each memory, a reminder of her central role in the family's life. Vanessa shifted uncomfortably, unable to deny the truth in Erin's words. Michael's jaw tightened, the realization dawning on him that he had underestimated his mother. Erin's strategy was working exactly as she had intended. She was reclaiming respect without raising her voice, without arguing, simply by showing the undeniable truth. By the end of the meeting, the atmosphere had completely shifted. Michael looked at Erin with newfound respect, a silent acknowledgement of her strength and wisdom. Vanessa, too, realized that her attempts to dominate Erin had been futile, perhaps even foolish. Erin's bold strategy had worked. She had demonstrated her value, reminded them of her influence, and subtly shifted the family dynamic back in her favor. But she knew the battle wasn't over yet. Vanessa would not accept defeat easily. Erin would need to be ready for the next move, and when that moment came, she would strike with the same calm precision that had brought her this far. If you want to see how Erin takes control completely, and delivers a shocking ending that no one saw coming, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for the next thrilling part of this story. Erin Holland could feel the tension thickening in the house. Michael and Vanessa had grown quieter in the days following her bold strategy, no longer attempting to control her directly, but Erin knew better than to let her guard down. They were scheming behind the scenes, planning their next move, and she was ready. That evening, Erin called Michael into the study. Vanessa lingered, just outside, listening intently. Erin's calm, composed demeanor concealed the storm of determination within her. She had prepared for this moment, the ultimate confrontation that would settle the question of authority in the household once and for all. "Michael," Erin began, her voice gentle but firm, "we need to have a serious conversation about respect and boundaries. This house, this family, it belongs to all of us, and it's time you both understand what that means." Michael shifted uncomfortably, caught off guard by his mother's boldness. He opened his mouth to speak, but Erin continued before he could interrupt. "I've spent years raising you, guiding you, and keeping this family together, and I've done it quietly, without seeking recognition. But recognition is not the point. The point is respect. You cannot demand respect, Michael, nor can Vanessa dictate how I live in my own home." Vanessa stepped inside, her usual confidence faltering slightly. "Mom, you don't understand. This is my house now too," she said, trying to assert control. Erin turned to face her, eyes sharp and unwavering. "No, Vanessa, this is a family home. You may be my daughter-in-law, but that does not give you the right to erase me or diminish my place here. I am not your servant, and I will not be pushed aside." The words hung in the air, heavy with conviction. Vanessa's smirk faded completely, replaced by uncertainty. Michael looked between them, torn between loyalty to his wife and the undeniable truth in his mother's words. Erin took a deep breath, her voice softening but remaining firm. I am willing to coexist peacefully, to support you both, but only if respect is mutual. If you cannot accept that, then this house will no longer be a place of conflict for me. I will not allow anyone to treat me with less than the dignity I deserve. A silence fell over the room. Vanessa opened her mouth, then closed it again. Michael's shoulders slumped slightly. He had never seen his mother like this, never heard her speak with such unwavering authority. Erin smiled, not out of triumph, but out of quiet satisfaction. She had made her point, she had reclaimed her position, her dignity, and her influence in the family, and she had done it without losing her composure or her heart. As she left the room, Erin knew that the dynamic had shifted permanently. Michael and Vanessa would have to adjust, and they would do so whether they liked it or not. Erin Holland had faced the storm, and she had not only survived, it was clear she had won. Erin Holland had faced every challenge the past week had thrown at her. She had reclaimed her dignity, reminded Michael and Vanessa of her worth, and quietly yet powerfully shifted the balance in the household. But Erin knew the final test was still ahead, the moment when the full truth of her strength would be revealed. That evening, the family gathered for dinner. The tension was palpable. Vanessa's earlier confidence had vanished, replaced by uncertainty. Michael's demeanor had softened, though a flicker of stubborn pride remained. Erin, however, entered the room with calm assurance, carrying herself like the matriarch she truly was. Before we eat, Erin began, her voice gentle but commanding. I want to share something with both of you, something important about family, respect, and choices. Vanessa rolled her eyes slightly, expecting another subtle reprimand. But Erin's words carried more weight than she anticipated. This house, Erin continued, has been built on love, sacrifice, and understanding. Every brick, every meal, every memory has my touch. And while I welcome both of you here, I will never allow my presence or my efforts to be diminished. Michael shifted in his seat, uncomfortable but listening intently. Erin's eyes softened as she addressed him. Son, I raised you to be strong, kind, and fair. I trusted you to see the truth, even when it's difficult, and I need you to honor that trust now. Vanessa tried to interrupt, but Erin held up a hand. No, Vanessa, I will finish. She paused, letting her words sink in. Respect is earned, not demanded. Authority is not about control, it's about understanding, fairness, and love. If you truly care about this family, you will acknowledge that. You will treat me as you would wish to be treated. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, in a surprising turn, Michael spoke softly, his voice filled with a mix of guilt and realization. Mom, I didn't see it before, but I do now. I was wrong. Vanessa, you need to respect her, and so do I. Vanessa looked down, fidgeting with her hands. Erin could sense the hesitation, the internal struggle, but she also saw recognition. Slowly, Vanessa nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. You're right, Erin. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Erin smiled gently, placing a hand over hers. Apology accepted. What matters now is what we do next, how we move forward as a family. The room shifted, tension dissolving into a quiet, emotional acknowledgement. Erin had done more than assert her authority. She had reminded her family of love, respect, and the values that truly mattered. She hadn't had to fight with anger or manipulation. She had won through dignity, patience, and unwavering strength. As the family embraced a new understanding, Erin felt a sense of relief and triumph. Michael and Vanessa had learned their lesson, and Erin had reclaimed her rightful place not through confrontation, but through courage, intelligence, and heart. Her eyes sparkled with quiet pride. Erin Holland had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who underestimated her. If you loved Erin's incredible journey and her shocking victory, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional and inspiring stories like this.